So hello and welcome to St Cuthberts Church in Fishlake, on the outskirts of the city of Doncaster where I live. And I'm currently standing in the south entrance to the church, and let me show you some of the details that are in this part of the church. These amazing detailed carvings are said to depict the life of St Cuthbert, whose name this church bears. Story of St Cuthbert and how in, I think it was the late 8th century, his body was buried on Holy Island, Lindisfarne, and the Viking invasion started, and it became apparent that the Vikings were looking for St Cuthbert's body. And so basically what they did was the faithful took it on a bit of a walking tour to evade the Vikings, and it went all over the place through areas around Holy Island, and those places visited by the body, as it were, form part of the route of St Cuthberts Way, which is one of the walks that are of great interest to me. I want to complete that walk, but particularly so given its local link, and somehow or other the monks that were in charge of the artifacts and the body of St Cuthbert ended up here in Fishlake, on the outskirts of the city of Doncaster. Okay, look, we made an interesting discovery that St Cuthbert's body ended up in Doncaster, but so what? This is not really going to tell us much, and it's certainly not going to do anything more than whet my appetite for the actual features of St Cuthbert's Way. So let's get packed up and let's move up to Scotland, and let's take it to the new adventure. Cheers, Dan. I will. Look after each other and all that. See you, mate.
Now in zones 1 and 2, standard class,
Melrose Abbey, the start of St Cuthberts Way. So you come round that corner off the High Street, and that's your start. Yeah, welcome to St Cuthberts. Obviously it's raining because we're in Scotland. I've got to go up there. So how much filming I'll get done today, I'm not sure. I'm currently filming under my portable hiker's tarp, otherwise called an umbrella, and I think that might be up all day. Well, what's left of it. Set off at 1 o'clock from the Abbey. So I decided to have a meal in the restaurant. This campsite's got a restaurant, and I thought I'd do that. And while I'm having this, there's a fair chance I might dry out a bit. So yeah, because everything's soaked, so I'm drying out nicely. And when I finish this, I'll go and pitch my tent. So welcome to St Cuthberts Way, which is, I'm told, one of the most beautiful, varied and enjoyable long distance walks in Britain, and one of Scotland's great trails. It bridges the national border, as you probably know, between Scotland and England, and yes, it's an inspiring walk, 100 kilometres in length, and it follows some beautiful countryside from Melrose in the Scottish borders, where St Cuthbert started his religious life in 650 AD, and it finishes in Holy Island off the Northumberland coast, which was his eventual resting place. It's a pilgrimage route inspired by his life, but I'm not doing it as a pilgrimage. I just fancied doing it. So to be honest, it's been horrific today weather-wise, and I haven't got a lot of filming done because it's just been so wet. It has been well waymarked, and I've got to say it's been well managed, so a big thank you to everybody who maintains it. You pass through lots of lovely small towns and villages. I didn't really feel like I could make the most of it today because it's just been so wet. I've had the umbrella up all day, I've had my waterproofs on all day, and quite frankly I've needed them. I've just managed to get the tent up in the rain still, and it literally hasn't stopped all day. And I don't think it's due to stop raining until the early hours. And as sod law would have it, I spoke to my wife earlier, and it's 25 degrees in Doncaster. She was out walking the dog in a t-shirt, and it was beautiful. So I suppose this is the weather you expect for Scotland, and I would guess that you can say I've not been disappointed. I've certainly experienced Scottish weather. So that's it for day one, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it when I hit the trail in the morning. Hopefully it might be a bit drier and get a bit more filming done. And as for the rest of tonight, I'm going to make a cup of tea I'm going to sort my kit out, and I'm probably going to get my head down because I've got a long day tomorrow. I need to get to Cuthberts, which I think is about 20 odd miles. So hopefully I'll get an early start and crack on with it and get it done. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. So this is where I stayed last night. I've now got to walk back up this A68, a short distance, to cross some fields to get back to the route. Wish me luck. Very pretty part of the trail. This is not that far from the campsite. Picked it up. Runs parallel to the, what I think is the A68. But as you can see, it's still wet. Catch you later. Well, this is day 2. I'm on the old Roman road. I've been going about 3/4 of an hour, and there's absolutely no sign of the weather improving at all. I've looked at the 3 weather apps that I've got just in the vain hope that one of them is saying it's going to be glorious sunshine when the other 2 are saying it's going to rain all day, but all 3 agree it's going to rain all day. My plan is to get to, what's it called, Cuthberts, end of the Pennine Way, where I've got another campsite booked tonight. So that's going to be another wet night, and it literally looks like the whole day is going to be wet. So it's going to be a slog, a bit of a miserable slog this walk, I think. But no point in moaning. I'm grateful that I'm out here doing it. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to do it, the time to do it, and you just have to take the weather that is thrown at you and not let it put you off. So I don't know how much filming I'll be able to do. I don't want to get my phone soaked, so I'll film as and when I can, and try and put something together for day 2. So I'll see you on the trail. So I don't know if the camera's picking this up because it's so dark in here, but it's a bit like a Lord of the Rings landscape, but it's very muddy, very rooty, very slippy, and yeah, you've got to watch your footing. So I just thought I'd take a moment under the cover of the trees. I've been going just over an hour, so I won't have covered very far. And it's still raining. I just bumped into some 3 lady runners, and they said that the local news said that it's going to dry up later on this afternoon, but they also said they'd heard that one before. We'll see. Nice views from up here. There's obviously some kind of monument across there on top of that hill, but I'm damned if I can see it. I'll have to have a look on the map and put it on screen what it is. And we're back in the woods again. It's pleasant. A lot of the trails are flooded, so my feet are wet through, and as you can hear, it's still raining. What time is it? It's 9:30, so I think I'm going well. I feel good, a bit wet, but we know about that. Onwards and upwards. The blackberries are a bit later than they are at home. Which is quite fortunate for me, as I've been eating them all the way up this lane, and they are delicious. This is Cessford. Obviously it's still raining. No views actually, you can't really see anything. It's been a bit of a slog this morning through woods and a bit of road work, not much. But there's a castle just around the corner, Cessford Castle, and then it's on to Moorbottle. See you in a bit. What's left of Cessford Castle? I'm going up there. I had to get a bit of video with that. Where boots go today. So that's where the trail comes down from, wide open. The plan is to go to Wooler tomorrow, here. And then how far beyond that I'll get, I don't know. But I would like to get to St Cuthberts Cave and maybe a little bit beyond that. If not, these woods here, maybe just outside those woods, hopefully find somewhere to pitch up. Because then I've just got to drop down to the A1, cross the A1, and then be able to finish on Monday morning. But that would be, worked it out at 25 to do tomorrow, which is quite an ask when it's as hilly as it is, but we'll see how I get on. I think 6:45, and it's the start of day, well, it's start of day 2.5, because the first day was only half a day with travelling. And I'm just leaving Kirkyetton, and it's going to be a hilly day today, and I'm hoping to break its back and get as close to the coast as possible. so that I can walk down to the causeway in the morning and finish it. That's the plan anyway. But we've got some big hills to go over that might scupper all that. I'll have to see how I get on. See you in a bit. It's just beautiful, don't you think? There's an important milestone on this walk. If you can see that, it says "Welcome to England." Nobody here to check my passport, so I'm going to carry on. I think they must be the Cuthberts over there. That's for later on today. So beautiful. Before everybody else is up, I think it's the best time. I had a discussion in the hotel about 10 o'clock breakfast and then setting off today. I've seen deer this morning. I've seen one other human being walking his dog, and he told me that he often comes out at 4 AM in the summer months just to have the place to himself and see the wildlife that you won't see otherwise. He told me he thought it was going to stay dry today, but he did say it can change very quickly, and even 100-mile-an-hour winds on the hilltops have been recorded around these parts. So far I'm enjoying it today. See you in a bit. as well as looking forwards at what you've got to walk through or cross next, I always think it's worth looking back at where you've been and just taking it in for a minute. Even though it is covered in cloud and wet, it is still lovely. A mist bank rolling in up ahead again. It stopped raining, but it's been replaced by this cloud bank, which is the equivalent to rain. Rain that you can't see through. I've just been having a little chunter to myself about the trail compared to other trails and the lack of provision on it. I'm not seeing any trail angel boxes, cabins, that kind of thing that you get on Hadrian's Wall and Yorkshire Wolds Way. Not even seeing a shelter. And there is a lot of elderly people doing it. I spoke to a few in the pub yesterday, and the Americans have remarked upon it. I think the landowners ought to be approached and maybe do something. Not a lot, just the odd thing here or there. Improves everybody's experience of the trail. Makes you feel welcome and wanted. Look, I thought I'd show you, or myself, when I watch it back, when I'm a bit older than I am already. Normal service has been resumed. Yeah, it's raining again. I knew it wouldn't last, looking at them clouds. Oh well. See you in a bit. That's where I had my lunch. Looks like it's going to rain again though. So I thought I'd show you my camp spot for the night. That's the causeway over to Holy Island, as seen from the barn at Beale. That's a view inside. Rucksack through the what they call a gear garage. That little half moon shaped zip gives you access to that storage vestibule on that side. And got the Alp kit, cloud quilt, Trekology pillow. There's loads of room at the head end and quite a bit at the foot end as well. And I can sit up in it. And then just in the front vestibule I've got cooking bits. That's it at the moment. I'm going to make a coffee in a minute. One of these for tea. I think I've got any breakfast left. I'm sure I can get something in Berwick. I'm just reflecting on this walk. It's been a lovely walk, apart from the weather obviously, but the route is memorable, and some of the people that I've met along the way. Didn't do a lot of filming. I was too nervous to get my iPhone out. I didn't know how splash proof is. I met, I think I might have already said, I met an American woman who'd got an iPhone, don't know what model, and she was carrying it in a plastic bag, and I think the plastic bag had filled up with water in a pocket. It wasn't working, so we had a conversation about what is splash proof. And it's no good to you, is it, once it's been sat in a plastic bag that's more like a goldfish bowl. So I think I was right to be cautious, but I probably haven't got as much footage as I would have liked. But it's a reminder, it's a, you know, a record of something, so I can share it with my granddaughter and, you know, my daughter down the line if they should be remotely interested in doing so. And also to prod the old memory bank later on. Anyway, I think my water's boiling. See you in a bit. So from Kirkyetham, I followed the Pennine Way, the high route. Not for long, for a while, and then pretty soon the paths divided, and I crossed the border into England, which seemed a bit strange. I think it was about 13 miles to Wooler, where I had a second breakfast in the terrace cafe. But the heavens opened there, and the next 12 miles were just like a head-down slog of constant heavy rain. But eventually I made it to the barn at Beale, and as I sat down in the chair in the cafe, it actually stopped raining. So I'm camping here tonight, and it's only a short 30-minute walk or so down to the causeway in the morning for the last bit of the hike. I would say, despite the weather, I'm so glad that I've done this walk. It's been a hard one. I'm not going to say it's an easy one by any stretch of the imagination, and 3 days doesn't make it any easier. I haven't seen a soul en route, but I've spoken to lots of lovely people, either in cafes or pubs along the way, and the route itself is incredible. So I would give it a hearty recommendation if anybody's thinking about it. Definitely put it on your list. If it hadn't been for the Doncaster connection, I don't think I would have known about St Cuthberts Way. And to say that they don't make a song and dance about it at all in Doncaster, there's nothing at the church in Fishlake to mark the fact that he was there at any point in history. So apart from the door, the arches over the door, but that's the reason I decided to look into it, and that's the reason why I decided to do it, and I'm so glad I did. So I think I've got about 6 miles left to do over to Holy Island. I've got a taxi booked there because I think the bus service is non-existent, and then the taxi is going to take me to the station at Berwick, where I've booked a train for later on in the day. So that's it for now. That's the end of day 2.5, and another half to do. So see you in the morning. Can you hear it? Half past 6 on Monday of the AM, and yes folks, it's raining again. It's been raining since, well, all night. So I'm going to be packing down a wet tent. It's not quite sunrise yet, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes. But I will be starting to pack up pretty soon. I'll have a walk down to the causeway, ready for that opening. Hi, welcome back. Well, as you can see, it stopped raining again. It's actually quite pleasant. So I got packed up. Obviously, everything's soaking. That sky's quite dramatic. Yeah, everything's soaking. But it doesn't really matter because I'm going home today. I'm just walking down to the causeway now, which I can see is still underwater. Although there are some cars queuing already. And possibly what appears to be two people wading. Which is a bit crazy. The staff in the cafe at the barn at Beale advised me against walking across the Pilgrim Pole route. They were saying that 3 people had to be rescued last week, and it's best to go with a guide, or at least somebody who understands the conditions, rather than just wing it. So I think I'll stick to the road as they suggested. Yeah, there are a couple of people wading, but I don't know if they're attempting to cross or not. A bit foolish if they are. I'll show you if I can when I get there. So that's a welcome sign when you've had a pasting for 3 days. Ironic really that the last day, or last morning, is by far the best weather. Well, that's another walk completed. I know I've done a fair bit of complaining about the weather on this. I've looked at 1 or 2 of the video clips that I've recorded, and I seem to have been moaning about the rain in each and every one I've looked at. And I kind of have. I've gone around the route complaining about it to myself, chuntering, but I'm really glad I've done it. And my overall impression, my lingering impression that the walk's made upon me is that I really enjoyed doing it. And yet I'm sure when I piece these clips together it won't give that impression. But don't be swayed by that. Don't let it put you off. It's definitely worth doing. And I think it's about to end in the same manner that it began. with a bit more rain. So I hope you get better weather than I did, and I should imagine if you're fortunate enough to do it in the summer, if we ever get a summer, you'll find it amazing. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.